Marx Group, by the way.
Right. Hi, I'm Brian Offenberger from Aftermarketer Club. We're doing another of our In the Pits expert interview series. With me is Tom Marx from the Marx Group. Tom's an expert in helping automotive industry companies with a variety of different marketing activities. And what I'm going to be talking to Tom today is about how you bring these different elements together. Marketing, PR, advertising, how you bring those elements so you get impacts, bringing them all together, working together synergistically so you get the most out of all of them. Tom, welcome to the In the Pits interview series. I want to ask you this. What causes synergy? When I have my marketing and my advertising and my PR, tell me what synergy is between those and why it's so important for us to really pay attention to it.
Hey, Brian, that's a great question to ask. So here's the reality is, think of your world in silos. You got a silo of marketing people, manufacturing, production, finance, sales, and marketing. Everybody's working hard for the company. They're all energized, they're all excited. But guess what happens when you're in a silo? You're not talking to each other. So this is something we spoke about in the presentation we're doing here at the SEMA show this week, which is you've got to create a bridge to get people out of their silos and talking to each other and communicating. I think the most important part of synergy is people have to be able to do this together. This is not something they can do on their own. It's something they have to do as an organization. And when you have synergy, very frankly, when you end up in a situation where you're starting to see that interaction happen between these various levels of the business, and then you can take that and put that into your marketing strategy.
How about when it's not working together? Are there signs? The signs when I don't have that synergy and things just quite aren't in harmony?
That's a great question. I just came back from an all-day client meeting yesterday here in Las Vegas.
So you have a fresh example.
It's not a fresh example, but
okay.
I'm not going to name names.
All right.
So here's what happened is the sales team made their little story about what they're planning on doing for 2012. The marketing people did what they're doing in 2012, and then the product manager started talking about product development. And as we're listening to this, we realize, oh my God, the product manager is talking about a certain product category that's not what the salespeople and marketing people are talking about. And then the president said, wait a minute, that wasn't the direction we were going in. So you realize what happened here is there's a breakdown in communication. Nobody knows what somebody else is doing. One part of the business is going that direction, one part of the business is going this direction, and what you have is miscoordination. And I've watched marketing campaigns go out there and launch new products when products were not ready to take to market, and I've seen the disaster that happens when they get demand for a product and they have no ability to deliver the product into their channels. So how you know about this is, if you're not talking to each other and you're surprised about what somebody in the company says, then you don't have synergy.
And you probably don't have that impact on the bottom line you would have if it was all working together either, huh?
Well, actually worse. What ends up happening is you spend money. We had one client, we actually did a product launch 3 times in 3 years.
Wow.
It finally launched at the end of the 3 years. By that time, other manufacturers come into the field. They came out with a product which was as good at or better as, and all the development they did and the money spent on advertising and marketing went for nothing. So that's what can happen.
Tom, if I'm having these problems, if things aren't working together, are there a couple of steps or tips you can give me to try to bring them all in harmony and get them working together the way they should?
In our particular way, we call this a kickoff meeting. So we start off by having a conversation with the key people in the company, developing a structure to communicate with each other on progress on a various project or a various product. And what ends up happening then is we then have follow-up processes that happen. But once you open the line of communication, once people come out of the silos and they start talking to each other, you've got to have a structure in place to keep that communication moving and moving clearly. This is even more challenging when the company may have multiple locations throughout the country. So we're a real strong believer of having certain sessions that go on either weekly or monthly where you're talking to each other about where a product is in the development stream and taking it to market. That, to me, is the most important way to know. If something's not going right, you'll know about it very quickly.
Absolutely. Now, we have these different elements that are coming together. Are there ways that we can kind of measure how they work together or see, it's kind of like baking a cake. Can we find out if we don't have an ingredient what kind of impact that has on us?
And that happens before the cake collapses?
Yeah, absolutely. Either that or before someone throws it at us and says it's not edible,
You got it. One of the things today that's really important is there's many ways to measure. So one of them, of course, is the social media world. You can look at your metrics, use Google Analytics, and you can go out there and find what's working and how they're interacting and how they're playing off each other and seeing what the results are. The other possibility is we believe strongly in doing surveys. So if we can do a survey with a customer base today that indicates where they are in the awareness stream, where they are in their buying stream, their buying ideas, go back and do that same interview in 3 months, 6 months, or a year from now, you can start to see how the various elements are being able to interact. And in those surveys, you ask them questions about where did you hear about us, how did you hear about us, and how did you interact with us? Was it by phone? Was it by social media? Was it by going to the website? Was it by going to events? And you start to see what really actually starts to work and what actually brings benefit to you. But if you can measure those items that way, then you'll know that your campaigns are working and how they're interacting together.
Tom, can you give our audience a brief overview of how the Marx Group can help companies like this get started bringing these elements together?
We're a relatively unique company. We're a full-service marketing and communications company,
Okay.
Based in San Francisco area, and then offices in Chicago, Detroit, and Houston. And our belief is that it all comes about from we bring about change to clients. One of the things I love about our clients is I walk into their office, they look at me and they go, "Oh no, I'm going to spend money." And we know we're doing our job right then, because if we walk into the company and we bring about the synergy, what they have to do within their marketing, and we know we're creating results, and we know the client's spending their money, and we know they're paying their bills, we know we're doing a good job. But the most important thing is we really, frankly, are a little bit of an irritant. We force people to look very clearly at what they're doing and not just fall back to the old lazy habits they used to have, but to be sure they're staying on top of their marketing strategies and their sales strategies and communicating down through their channel all the time. That's the part where we really make a difference. It's about ready, aim, fire, strategy first, figuring out the process, doing it, evaluating it, and readjusting it. If you do that continuously, you'll have a successful marketing strategy.
Excellent advice, Tom. Thank you for joining us. It's Tom Marx from the Marx Group. If you happen to need Tom or his company's help, please feel free to contact them. Also, look at our website. We'll make sure that you have all of Tom's contact information there. I'm Brian Offenberger. This is the In the Pits interview series. I'm glad you joined us, and I hope you stay tuned and join us again in the near future.